Yes, I. Blessed love, mighty people. Yeah, man. The fullness of life. Jah has already created that for all of humanity, you know. So, sufferation. Remember, there's two entities, darkness and light. You know, most of the world, which is the runnings, since the fall of that one from grace, and he fall down here, and he come down here, you know, and he's one of the forces, or you could say the main force in this world. You know, a lot of things is because of, you know, his influence, greediness, you know, selfishness. All these things is just influenced by the dark forces. If you really check the light does influence you to be, you know, unified, to live in light, you know, to live in love, because love is the main, you know, that is where we come from. That is why the Garden of Eden was created. That is why, you know, man and woman was created. Through Adam, God take his rib when he was sleeping to make Eve. It's because of love, you know. You know, all these things was created because of love. Jah love for humanity, you know. And he created everything, the whole world. It have enough for everybody and more, you know. You know, Jah he wouldn't send all his children in this world without sustenance. You know, just like when Jesus Christ, you know, was with his 12 disciples and the multitude of people was there. You know, the 5, you know, the loaves and the fishes. You know, the loaves and fishes. He created food, you know. He offered up the food to the Father, and the food never ran out. So even in this world, it have enough for everybody, you know. But just through the influence of the dark forces, many people lock off the valve. You know, they lock off the valve because of greediness, selfishness, influenced by the evil one, you know, to cause death and population control. Who does come up with these things, boy? To cause population control. Always God over. You understand? Always God, because if, you know, Jah created, he created his children, you know, sending them here on a mission. Everybody sustain, you know. Everybody have sustenance. It have enough. The earth is the fullness, you know, thereof. So you could plant land, you know, food, you know, to have land, you could plant and get food, you know. Why it have all these fight for land and, you know, this is my own, and, you know, when you watch the amount of people suffering in this world, it just does bring tears to the eyes of the Creator, feel, boy. When he sees his children suffering, you know, the sufferation going on in the concrete jungles, you know, in the cities, you know, and then this one have more, and he want to give none because he's a billionaire. You know, he want to give because he's a billionaire. So he looking at people suffering. Boy, as they say, Christ's government shall rule the earth, you know. Christ's government. You know, and that government, it wouldn't have no crying, no weeping, no mourning, no death, you know. Because the way how things run in here, anything could happen, you know. The way how earthly things are going, anything could happen, you know, Natty. Anything could happen. Anything could happen, boy. You know, so it's just I sees when you're raised, you know. when you raise high seas to the king, high seas, praises, you know, to the eye. But the pure in heart does always win in the end, you know. That is why the people who suffer in the most today, Christ said that, Jesus Christ said that, they will be happy. The ones who in sorrow now, they will be happy. The ones who laughing now, they will be sad. Yeah, they will be sad. The ones who laughing now, you know, they had their easy life. How terrible it is. You who are rich now and happy now, you know, offer the pain and the blood of innocent people. Or they're happy because of sufferation of innocent people. You know. You understand? Slavery, all these things. They build their cities on dead men's bones, you know. You know how much massacre on the slave plantations take place for certain countries to build. Certain countries build off the blueprint Africa. Plenty countries all around the world, and they know themselves. They build off so much things. Stolen things, you know. Even in their museums have things that don't belong to them, you know. So much massacre of a certain race of people, had them in slavery. But the pure in heart will always win in the end, you know. And soon Ethiopia shall stretch out her hands unto God, you know. Princes shall come out of Egypt. Africa awaits its creators, you know. Alpha and the Omega. The Alpha and the Omega. The Alpha and the Omega, but the beginning and the end, you know. So many just try to understand why the good people just go through so much pain. But one of the fruits of the Spirit is long suffering. Long suffering. You know, that is one of the fruits of the Spirit. Long suffering. So once you're a real child of the Almighty, somehow a test will appear some way. Just always have a fight, you know. And as Jesus Christ say, you know, blessed are you when people hate you and persecute you and reject you. It's the same thing the ancestors did to the prophets, to the real prophets. They hate them, despise them. Even Christ himself, they called for Barabbas. They didn't choose he, they choose Barabbas. You understand? And how terrible it is when men speaks well of you. Is the same thing the ancestors did to the false prophets. So that is the revelation. The revelation, you know, of the boat energy now. The boat energy. Yeah. So once it has some people not of the world, but they're in the world. But it has some people of the world. So it have earthly spirits and it have heavenly spirits who living on earth. Yeah, so it's just the sheep and the goats, you know, the tares and the wheats. They all go together, you know. They're growing together. But in the end of time, everything will be sifted out, you know, everything will be strained out. And everything will be revealed. Revelation will be revealed in the end. Yeah, man, so it's just vibes, you know. It's just vibes, man. So mighty people, just stay strong and just hold on to Jah. But that's the only thing we could do. Because without God, we are just dust, you know. And He's the one who sent us here on our mission to make the world a better place, you know, to light up the darkness. He sent us here on a mission. All of us have a mission, you know, to complete for the kingdom. So stay on the side of light, you know. Choose light. Choose the sailing ship. Don't choose the sinking ship, because good will conquer evil, you know. Good has already won the battle. John never lost a battle yet, you know. So let the lion rise and his enemies be scattered, you know. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. You understand? And Ephesians 6:12 say, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high and low places. So it's a spiritual thing, you know. There's more than the physical, you know. So, my dear star seeds, my dear chosen ones, my dear people,